On this week's track battle, we've got over 1,000 horsepower to play with, thanks to the Mercedes SL63 AMG and Jaguar's XKR-S convertible. We're going to find out which is quickest, and I suspect we're going to be going sideways quite a lot. Both of these cars look slightly ridiculous, but I think they're going to be a lot of fun. So we're going to start in the SL63. This thing is a huge car and it's probably not fully at home on track, but it's got 530 horsepower and 600 pound-foot of torque or thereabouts, so the performance is just madness. So first impressions, well, it's a strange car this. It's got very heavy steering. It's got no body roll, it's got sort of active body roll system, which means you get masses of response to start with, but then the tyres can't seem to live with that first bit of response. So although I'm mucking around there and getting oversteer, what you generally get is instant turn-in bite and then it washes into understeer here. You just can't get it to go around the corner. And then on the exit, the torque spikes up and you bonfire the rear tyres. But I think that's enough of the sideways stuff. Let's try for a lap, see if this thing can do a neat and tidy lap. Immediately get that understeer. It's strange, this thing. It feels heavy on the brakes. Just about turns in and then it's just patience. A bit of oversteer. You run into the limiter with the gearbox if you don't preempt it, which is quite frustrating. It's good on the brakes. See, that initial response is good, but now you're just waiting for the front to bite. And as soon as it does, the rear lights up. It makes it such a tricky balance. But it is fast. This engine is wicked. For a big old car, it does turn. Oh God. So being entirely neat is obviously not in the SL63's repertoire, and it feels really slow if you just don't have any slip angle at all. It is a real balance through this high-speed corner, understeer or oversteer. It's so hard to keep it neutral. That's probably about as good as it gets, and that's a lap in the SL63.
The SL63 might have a very narrow sweet spot, and this is clearly not its natural environment, but the grip and the grunt is undeniable. A lap time of 1:23.9 is fast, really, really fast.
So the SL63 might have felt a little bit strange, but no arguing with the grip or the performance. The XKR-S has even more power in terms of horsepower, a little bit less torque, in fact nearly 100 pound-foot less. And it feels completely different from the SL63. The steering's really light, it's pointier, but there's more body roll, and it really, really struggles with traction. It just lights its tyres up every time you go near the throttle. It just never stops oversteering. So I thought the SL63 was a tricky car to keep neat and tidy, but XKR-S redefines Larry. Turns in pretty well, but again, you just can't go near the throttle. Into this heavy braking zone, goes sideways on the brakes on the way into the corner, and then as soon as you look at the throttle, it goes again. I've got about quarter throttle on, fourth gear. Doesn't make any difference. Let's try and keep it all under control to a certain extent. See what lap time it runs. does feel heavy on the brakes, turns in well, but then it instantly lights up as soon as you go near the throttle into this braking zone, and it wants to turn in on itself, turn in oversteer, then patience, but then I'm barely on the throttle and it's lighting them up. Fourth gear, barely on the throttle, it's lighting up the rear tyres everywhere. Okay, braking zone. You have to be so gentle with this car. It just does not want to turn without sliding. It's just ridiculous. What is this car all about? Jesus. Oh God. In the context of the XKR-S, the F-Type is an absolutely stunning achievement, because this car, although it's quite amusing, it's so leery. I mean, you can't stop the thing sliding. You turn and it's sideways, and it just keeps going that way. Okay, that is a fast lap in an XKR-S. You might also call it a very slow, very messy, very sideways lap, but that's, I'm afraid, about as good as it gets.
Is it fair to describe the XKR-S convertible as hopeless on the circuit? Well, it has serious traction issues, the box is outmoded, and it's very, very difficult to keep hold of. The lap time is a clear 1.8 seconds behind the SL63, a 125.7. However, if you aren't happy unless you're looking out of the side window, then this could be the car for you. Today though, the SL wins this track battle by a yawning margin.